Hello again, everybody. This is Marvelous Mark with your Raw review for August 7th, 2017 from the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Canada. And after last week's show, I didn't really have any, what do you call it? Didn't really have any big expectations for this show, but so it starts off with Miz TV, and you thinking, God, can this be any worse than last week? Well, of course, the Miz is going to call out Jason Jordan after being embarrassed last week on his show, but he doesn't get him because he gets his father Kurt Angle out there, and he says he's got a great guest for him. Turns out to be the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. This was actually a good start to this show. I mean, God, when you have two guys that can really go on the mic, and Paul Heyman and The Miz, they're kind of going back and forth. But God, if you notice anything about Bo Dallas, if his beard gets any longer, he's going to be rivaling that of his brother. But anyway, this is just a complete beatdown by Brock Lesnar. He kind of looked at Axel and Dallas and The Miz as his three opponents at SummerSlam, and basically that's all this was. It was just a complete beatdown by Lesnar and taking The Miz and the Miz Taraj to Suplex City, bitches. That was one of the only good parts of this show. And so we have a rematch from last week with Seth Rollins and Sheamus, and you know, if they're gonna do this Raw Tag Team title feud, why wouldn't you just have Seth Rollins take on Cesaro this week instead of having a rematch with Sheamus? I'm just saying here. And with this new kind of tweak to Rollins' theme music with the "Burn It Down," I think that's kind of good. That's kind of cool, actually. But the match itself wasn't any good, really. It was the same finish as last week, except Sheamus gets the victory and Rollins gets beat down again, but no Dean Ambrose to be found. So then he finds him backstage, and it's just more of the same banner from last week. It's like they're just teasing more of this kind of a Shield reunion, but I guess we'll see where that goes. I'm sure that's what it's leading towards, but anyway. So Jason Jordan gets put into a match against, it was supposed to have been Curtis Axel, but he got taken out by Brock Lesnar, so insert random Canadian jobber named Jean-Pierre Goulet. I mean, if nothing spells like French-Canadian name like Jean-Pierre Goulet now, doesn't it? But, and what I thought was funny about this match is there's a "Let's Go Jobber" chant. It's like they always talk about Canada as being Bizarro Land, and this is no exception. With Jordan getting booed and the Canadian jobber getting cheered. And you can really tell it was Bizarro Land because Bayley's out there talking about what happened to her last week in that match against Nia Jax with her separated shoulder, and it's going to keep her out of SummerSlam. And I'm just thinking to myself, God, she's going to come out there. Hell, she don't even have her. She had a totally different look for her. She didn't have her hair in her signature ponytail or nothing. So I'm just thinking, God, this is going to be bound to be depressing. And you can definitely tell it was Bizarro Land because Bayley was actually getting booed, and it seemed to affect her quite a bit. It's like she wasn't expecting it. And of course she's going to say her best friend would be the most worthy opponent for Alexa Bliss, who's out there on commentary. And so, she's going to say the boss, Sasha Banks. And so they end up having a triple threat between her and Alicia Fox and Emma. It's like Emma's talking about give Emma a chance, huh? Well, you got a chance, sweetheart, and you blew it. So there. And so, then next up you got Enzo Amore and the Big Show, and they end up taking on the Good Brothers themselves, the Bald Jobbers, Gallows and Anderson. And what Enzo Amore to me reminds me, you remember those old Looney Tune cartoons where you get the little dog who's jumping around? Hey Spike, how you doing there, Spike? That's what Enzo Amore kind of reminds me of. He reminds me of that little dog who's trying to impress the big dog. And no, I'm not talking about Roman Reigns. I'm talking about the Big Show. And God, this I can just kind of tell that Show really doesn't like working with Enzo, but who in the back really does, with all the heat that Enzo has on him right now. So the big casshole comes out there and he attacks both of them, and then Cass ends up getting knocked out for his trouble. So they're setting up another match at SummerSlam between Big Cass and the Big Slow, and you're putting Enzo Amore into a shark cage. Normally the shark cage is not for annoying gnats like Enzo Amore. It's for heel managers. I mean, God, McMahon really, he's getting a lot of use out of the shark cage because he used it early in the year with Chris Jericho. He put him in that too, so what the hell's up with that? And then, okay. Then next up, you got Finn Balor out there for a promo. Finn Balor really shouldn't talk. I mean, really. I mean, talking about how Bray Wyatt gives him the creeps? Seriously? That's how you want one of your top baby faces on the show to talk? And basically all this is more mind games between the two of them. And so evidently that's going to be now a match at SummerSlam. That's official now. So the only way this isn't going to be a piss break for me is if you see the demon come out at SummerSlam. But even then, it'll probably still be a piss break. So then, I would have thought it would have been Dean Ambrose taking on Sheamus, but no. Dean Ambrose ends up taking on Cesaro. And this match was brought to you by Mercury Insurance, although it probably should have been brought to you by Unisom, because this about put me to sleep. Yeah, Ambrose ends up getting attacked, and Rollins does come out there and make the save for him, and once again they're teasing a full-scale reunion, but hell, Ambrose even puts his fist out there, and this time Rollins leaves him hanging, so they're just gonna tease it more and more and more, and evidently are we gonna get it or not? Are we not gonna get it? Oh, excuse me there. So then you got your random cruiserweight match. Arya Daivari against Akira Tozawa. That's kind of what I thought about that match. And then Renee Young has an interview with Roman Reigns in the backstage area. Whoop-de-doo. Okay. So then you have another triple threat match to figure out who's going to be the other two people in a match to finally figure out who's going to take on Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. When I heard Nia Jax was in this, along with Mickie James and Dana Brooke, it's like, oh gee, we're not telegraphing this, aren't we? You know damn good and well it's going to be Sasha Banks against Nia Jax. Who the fuck cares at this point? It's like, I really hope Nia Jax does win next week, because I'd love to see her against Bliss. And I'm as big of a Alexa Bliss guy as anybody, but I hope Nia Jax wins and gets a run with the title. Then next up, Goldust is talking about his next great creation is going to be coming at SummerSlam. I don't know. Is it going to be a starlet? Is it going to be there's going to be a new leading man, whatever. But I'm actually kind of interested to see where he's going to go with this. But it should be interesting. Maybe it's going to be a female from NXT, or maybe it's going to be the return of Summer Rae or somebody like that. But then you got the main event, which was actually a main event. The last man standing match between Roman Reigns and not Samoa Joe, but Braun Strowman. There's some good spots in this match. They're not gonna lie, it was a decent last man standing match itself. Then you got there's this one spot in the match where Reigns looked like he was gonna coming at Strowman, but Strowman throws a chair, kind of like what I'm sitting in. Something like this, and he throws it right at him. Hits him right in the head. So, take a seat there, Roman. So, then later on, and towards the end, Samoa Joe ends up coming from the crowd. He ends up putting Reigns in the coquina clutch, and that's all she wrote. And Strowman wins, and that's about it for this show. And as far as my final thoughts on this, basically what it was, you had a good segment at the beginning with Miz TV and Brock Lesnar taking out Miz and the Miztourage. And then you had a pretty decent last man standing match between Reigns and Strowman. But in the middle, it was just a heaping pile of monkey crap is what it was. I mean, seriously. And as far as what, they're getting matches set up for SummerSlam, but really, Raw just sucks. And that, I mean, last week really sucked too, but this wasn't much better, if it even was at all. But anyway, I am the Marvelous One, Marvelous Mark, and I'll see y'all later.